probably not alone in the reality that every week I read hundreds, if not thousands, definitely thousands, of emails, of text, of reports, of briefings, of presentations, whatever the team sends my way. The question I'm asking more often than not now is, what tool was used to generate this document? Who I know to be the sender is not the person that I'm reading. I'm not seeing their cadence, their tone, their voice, their expressive nature, their excitement for what's being documented, their curiosity, their history of being a critical thinker and a presenter in the way that I know them to be. There's a story I read on Facebook. I'm not sure how real or fake it is because it was Facebook, and it was a teacher giving feedback to a student. Not sure what age level, but the teacher said, hey, unless between paragraph 7 and 8 you got a doctorate in English, you went from writing this to simply taking whatever AI tool you're using gave you. There was a component of AI literacy that I believe is missing. And that is, what is the role of AI in your life to be a force multiplier, not a replacement of your inherent ability to critically think, to not offload your brain capacity, your individuality to simply whatever AI can generate. I think one of the mistakes that we're seeing is the first action that many take now is to see a problem or to see a question and to draft the prompt. Whereas it should be, I see the problem, I see the question, I hear the question, and I'm thinking about my response. I see a problem, what do I think is the solution? I have a hypothesis, what do I think is the answer? That's missing. Here's the problem, here's my thought of a solution, and then let me prompt around that. Here's my thought of the answer to the hypothesis, here's my thought around that. If we're solving for how AI is going to take all these jobs and how we prevent ourselves from losing our income, I don't think it's purely adopting AI and jumping into it. I don't think it's about finding the right prompt and having it give you the right structure every time. It's going to be the beginning and the end of that journey. If the middle is the prompt and it's the tool of AI, the first part is going to be our inherent abilities, our brain capacity, our lived experiences, our understanding of how this has worked before, of what we've tried before, what our first thought, our first idea, no matter how rough it might be, that is the first thought. It is not going to AI and saying, hey, here's a problem, write the email solving it for me to this team member. It is, here's the problem, here's my solution, here's my draft of that team member. Now AI review my solution or my email draft and perfect it or revise it or check for grammar or expand it or challenge it, whatever that might be. So first is our draft, our thought. Second has to be the prompt if we're going to use AI in this nature. And third is probably more important than option part 1 and part 2. That third reality is our ability and understanding of how we execute whatever this plan is. I often say the AI has no understanding beyond what has been fed around what it means to lead through change management. The ability to impact or influence humans, regardless of if they're paid or volunteered or paid well or paid horribly, to influence them to follow into the change that you're implementing in this space. And all the things that can go wrong or all the things that can go right. AI does not know that when you present this thing tomorrow or next week, that the person in the room, they went from having a smile to having tears in the matter of minutes because of a text message that they just received. Or AI does not know that in the meeting when you presented it and the eyes went left and right, that they weren't looking out of the office to see who was walking by. That was an eye roll or an expression of confusion. And so if there are 3 steps to this, it's 1, our inherent idea, our draft, using all that's in us, our experiences, our knowledge to bring to the table. 2, it is the prompt if we're using that. And thirdly, our ability to effectively execute or implement whatever plan, if this is the thing that we're solving for. That is critical because when we think about not losing our jobs or having a chance to progress in our career, if candidate A and candidate B have access to the same $100 or $200 or $20 AI tool from ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, what makes them different than the other person? What makes them different from you? And that is the ability to bring a coherent thought to the table, a critically explored thought, a draft that makes sense. Because I also think about this. If I were to take a group of executives on a retreat and there is no internet, or let's say AWS or Azure goes down and we don't have access to the generative AI tool, can we as an executive team or as an individual executive come up with an email or a strategy or a thought if we don't have the capacity or the ability to run it through AI? So that ideal candidate in 2026 and beyond is not the best prompter. It really is that first thought who has the best understanding of strategy or solving problems, the critical thinker, the creative, the whatever, insert that thing here. And then lastly, the ability to implement or execute whatever plan that has been brought to the table and adapt it to the realities of the humans that are going to be actually executing it. This was a random thought I've had for maybe the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and I have drafted ideas, I have shot other videos, but today I just grabbed 2 cameras and said, I'm going to do this right now and knock it out because I felt it was important. And every day that have not said it, it's bothered me because there's at least one person who needs to reframe how they approach their use and adoption of AI to ensure that they have the maximum opportunity to be who they've been called to be in their career, and not being crutched because they have offloaded their current abilities, but also their future abilities to AI, as a thinker, as a creative, as a strategist, as whatever it is that you are called to be in the career that you are pursuing. I would love to hear your thoughts about this conversation, this point of view, this perspective in the comments, DMs, like, comment, share, whatever that is for you. Thank you.